that link in the chain to transform this tool for violence into a tool for nurturing and growth. And what you see on the tables in front of you, which I'll invite you all to come look at, over here are tools that have been made by Smith from firearms from this gun buyback program over the recent years, as well as a sculpture made by a regional tech school student. And on this table are tools that are in the process of being transformed, parts of decommissioned firearms. And most notably, this shovel is a triptych. It is made from 3 separate firearms to represent the 3 victims that this community has, as we noted just now, has suffered. Forged together into one tool for planting a plant, digging a hole for a tree or whatever. It has a fire pot with a little vent to the bottom with a name called a tuyere, and then we pump air into it. In this case, from a valve, you can see that the dust pumping up.
Oh, okay.
There's air hand over there that's cold. That can be done with part of the fire, a little orange flame, which might not be much bigger in size than a grapefruit when it gets going. It's actually really surprising how small the fire is, and that you can do a lot with. Another thing that I'll mention is you can see that this is fairly simple equipment. My teacher, this is Carl West's mobile forge. You can see he sort of MacGyvered it out of a cookie sheet, a couple pieces from propane cylinders, and some simple steel, and he made this bellows to show that you can do this off-grid. You don't need power, you don't need electricity. Simple tools. Another thing which I will do while I'm waiting for this to heat up is just to mention the key tools that blacksmiths use, which are hammer and tongs. So this is your hand. You're going to hold things with it. It's going to be cool on this end, hot on that end. And the hammer is just something to hit it with, because the essence of blacksmithing is get something hot and hit it against the anvil, which is a good support. Now, you see these are kind of wonky looking tools? Because this was made in a class project. Another thing about blacksmiths is that, unlike many professions, we can make our own tools. So this used to be 3/8 round stock, and the class taught by Carl West, we reshaped that into a useful tool, in this case tongs. And then if you are holding metal of a different shape, you might make different tongs. So, somebody made these, and they're pretty good, I found, for holding a piece of a shotgun barrel. Somebody else at Prospect Hill, I hope this thing catches sooner, this is going to be a different sort of a demo than what you all signed up for. Made these sort of wonky ones that look like a snowman type of way, which are also good for holding shotgun barrels. Squared off as a tail and a horn, and a hole here for special tools like that anvil that one of you carried in, so help that, the vise. So, if I need to, I can put this tool here to make a vise, or there's little chisels that can be put here if I need to cut a piece of metal. So you can hot cut a piece of metal without using a saw by getting it orange hot, putting the Hardy tool here that would basically look like this without the holder. It's a square that fits in there. Put your piece of metal on there and hit it a few times. Their motion is so efficient, it's like choreography, it's like dance. Because when the metal is hot, you have to use your imagination here because I was unable to get the fire going today. It's coming out yellow, orange hot. And when it's in that state, it has the consistency of clay. We don't happen to have any modeling clay around, anyone. But if no modeling clay around. But that's actually a way to kind of practice a move you want to make where you take a piece of clay and say, my metal is starting in this shape, I want it to turn to some other shape. And you might take your hammer and smooth it out and say, okay, that's the sequence of moves I want to make. But you'll have planned it because there's a few sayings that blacksmiths have that actually have a bearing on ordinary life of being an active and efficient person. And one of them is strike when the iron is hot, because that means things are ready for change. When you've heated up iron and it's yellow hot, you can hit it with a hammer, you can see it move, you can feel it move. You've made a change. And in life it's like that as well. When the iron is hot, it means you've activated the people or environment that you're working with. It's ready to kind of change its crystalline structure with the right force and the right time and the right place. And so with blacksmithing, it's the same way. That when you take something out of the fire, you have a few seconds, you know, a couple, maybe 3 or 4 deep breaths worth of time before it's cooled down to the point where, you know, you can't really hammer it anymore and make a difference. Another thing that you would say as a blacksmith is think in the fire. So when you're heating, you're preparing the thing you're going to work on for its change. It's the time when you're doing your planning. Because when action is starting to happen, is not the time to try to figure out what should we do. You should have planned it like a dance. I'm going to go from here to here, I'm going to grab this tool, I'm going to drop that tool, and I'm going to make this change. Especially, and this is very exciting if you see it visually, and I'm not able to demonstrate today, is when you're joining 2 pieces of metal together, which is called forge welding. Usually we think of welders having the mask and the gas and the torch, but the original way of welding was just like this. You could get 2 pieces of metal so hot that they're yellow-white hot and sparking, meaning the ends of the pieces of metal are actually beginning to melt. And if you put them together and give them just a few taps, it'll be enough to make those 2 pieces of molten metal actually smooth into one another. But you have to get them ready to join. Again, one of those life lessons. You got to get things up to a point where they're ready to join, and then a few taps in the right place, and you can make a solid lifelong connection.
Since bringing it to Worcester many years ago, Dr. Hirsch has helped collect in thousands and thousands of firearms from Worcester County. And the cost to the city is equivalent to treating seven victims of firearm violence. Which is an incredibly small number. That just goes to show you the scope of the damage that can be done by firearm violence, and beyond the absolute tragedy of firearm violence. Our event is always on the second Saturday of December. It's an incredible community event throughout Worcester and the entire county. We have locations in Fitchburg, Milford, Northborough, Southbridge, here in Worcester, and then of course at our city welding and fabrication. Most of our events go from 9 to 12. Some of them go to 1, some 10 to 12. And we have flyers all over the county that have our details, and we have those details online as well. It's a wonderful event, and it's a nice collaboration between the medical school, the police departments, Guns and Gardens. It helps to really foster a sense of community. And it's a wonderful event. If you have questions about firearms, you can come in and talk to us. If you want a lock for your firearms, you can come in and talk to us. And of course, if you have a weapon in your home that you feel you no longer want to have in your home, because you recognize the morbidity and mortality risk that goes up with having a firearm in your home, or if you'd like to just exchange it in for gift cards that we have, we offer $50 for a rifle, $100 for a pistol, or $150 for an automatic or semi-automatic weapon. We have those as well for you. Again, I want to thank all of you for being here today. Thank you to you, Pro. Thank you to John and everyone at Gunstogardens. It's a privilege to be here. I've learned so much from this event personally as a medical student. All of us in the community get enriched by events like this. So thank you all for your time, and thank you all for being here.